dive. Today, we are immersing ourselves in a pool of wisdom that's millennia old, but honestly, it feels like it was designed for right now.
It really does.
This entire deep dive is dedicated to the sources you shared with us, all about finding, some peace and productivity in what feels like a pretty chaotic world.
That's right. And we're really translating the wisdom of the great Stoics people like Seneca, Epictetus, Musonius Rufus, but through the modern lens of Darius Foroux's work.
And it's not just theory, is it?
Not at all. The mission here is to pull out an actual blueprint, a guide for modern life, happiness, health, wealth, relationships, all the big stuff.
And I think the most comforting thing right at the start is realizing that our struggles, they're not new.
Not even close.
The anxiety, the distraction, the constant need for approval. Seneca was writing about this stuff 2,000 years ago. So our goal today is to pull out those timeless, actionable strategies, how to build resilience and live consciously.
And not just, accidentally exist, which is so easy to do. The foundational insight here, the thing that makes it all click, is that you have to start internally. In a crazy world, the only thing you can reliably work on is yourself.
Okay, so let's unpack that. That's the crucial foundation. We're going to start with that fundamental Stoic principle that unlocks happiness, then explore some techniques for guarding your mind against all the noise, and then get into Seneca's, frankly, surprising cure for fear.
Let's do it. We have to begin where all self-improvement starts. Inside. In the inner world. The Stoics were all in agreement on this. Real happiness, it comes from mental stability.
And that stability, it only comes from working on yourself.
Exactly. Which brings us straight to that famous piece of Stoic advice. The one that's so easy to quote, but so hard to actually live by.
Musonius Rufus, right?
Yeah. We must concern ourselves absolutely with the things that are under our control and entrust the things not in our control to the universe.
That word, absolutely, that's the whole game.
It is. It's the core principle because it makes you face what the sources call the resource trap. Time is finite. Your mental energy, even more so.
And we just squander it.
We squander it constantly on things we have zero control over, getting worked up about the news, scrolling through drama, arguing online.
And all those things, they trigger these unnecessary emotional responses. They just drain you.
They do. When you focus on what you can't control, the weather, someone else's bad mood, the global economy, you're basically taking a loan out on your own peace of mind.
That's a great way to put it.
So when you focus on what you can control, your effort, your reactions, your choices, you save up all that mental energy for what actually matters.
And that conservation effort, it also applies to people, right?
Yeah.
How do you keep your own peace when everyone around you is stressed or negative?
Well, Foroux talks about this in Letter 2. Protecting your mood. We're so susceptible to the moods of other people.
Okay, you can walk into the office feeling great.
And one conversation with a pessimistic colleague, and your whole day just tanks. Your productivity crashes. And negativity, for whatever reason, it just seems to stick more.
I think we all feel that moment when someone else's storm cloud just parks itself over your head.
Right. So the Stoic approach is super practical. Be compassionate, listen, but with a kind of cautious detachment.
So it's not about being cold.
No, not at all. It's about recognizing you are not responsible for how other people feel. Your number one job is to protect your own inner calm. You can help, you can listen, but you can't let them derail you.
So if we have to filter people's moods, we definitely have to filter the information we let in. Foroux calls most of it useless information.
Anything that doesn't positively impact your life, yeah. He really singles out social media, calls it sugar.
An analogy that definitely sticks.
It's perfect, isn't it? A quick addictive hit, but absolutely zero nutritional value in the long run. And this is where the affect heuristic comes in.
Okay, explain that for us. How does information hijack our mood?
The affect heuristic basically says that our decisions are guided by our immediate emotional reaction to something, the effect, not by, pure logic.
So we feel first, think second.
Exactly. And social media, clickbait, it's all engineered to trigger strong negative feelings. Fear, outrage, envy. And if you're constantly absorbing stuff that makes you feel unworthy or anxious,
those feelings are going to shape your decisions later.
Right. You're not going to go after a big goal if you're feeling small and worthless all day.
That's a powerful argument for just unplugging. It's not about saving time. It's about protecting your entire thought process.
Precisely. It's why the sources bring up people like the trader Jesse Livermore. He would intentionally withdraw from all the outside noise
To keep his head clear.
to maintain what he called continuity of thought. You can't have quality, independent ideas if your mind is just a pinball machine for other people's random opinions.
So setting those boundaries,
Yeah.
that's a form of stoic training.
Okay, let's pivot from the outside world to the chaos inside. Let's talk about Seneca's startling argument about fear. It is. It's so counterintuitive. Seneca basically says that to reduce fear, you have to consider letting go of hope.
Okay, wait. That sounds wrong.
Huh.
Isn't hope a good thing? How do you avoid just falling into apathy with that advice?
It's a really important distinction. He wasn't saying be hopeless. He was saying stop attaching your happiness to specific, uncertain future outcomes.
Ah, okay.
Because hope and fear, they're two sides of the same coin. If you are desperately hoping for something, you are, by definition, terrified of it not happening.
So how do you apply that? What's the technique?
Foroux suggests a simple language shift. You replace the loaded phrase, I hope, with the much more neutral phrase, I wonder.
So instead of, I hope I get the job, which is all about one specific outcome,
Right, an outcome you can't control.
you say, I wonder what opportunities will come from this whole experience.
Exactly. It shifts you from anxiety and attachment to open curiosity. It puts you back in control of your mindset, not the outcome.
Okay, that's powerful. Now, if fear is about the future, anger feels like it's all about the present. And it's maybe the most destructive emotion day to day.
Oh, Seneca was all over this. He warned that your uncontrolled anger is almost always more damaging to you than whatever it was that made you angry in the first place.
Right, the physical cost.
It's huge. Anger floods your body with cortisol. It messes with your sleep, your digestion. The cost to your own health is just too high for most of the trivial things that set us off.
And Foroux has that great anecdote about the broken washing machine.
Yes. It's so relatable. You spend 20 minutes yelling at a metal box, and what have you achieved? Nothing. Except spiking your own blood pressure.
The machine is broken either way.
The machine is broken whether you scream at it or calmly call a repair person. The only thing you change with anger is your own body. The goal is just awareness.
Okay, so we've sort of secured the inner world. Let's move to action. Actionable stoicism. And the first point here is tough for anyone who loves learning. The secret is execution over wisdom.
This is the painful one for modern life, isn't it? Because we get such a satisfying hit from acquiring knowledge, reading the book, watching the video. It feels like progress.
But it's not.
It's not. You can read 100 books on swimming and you'll still drown if you jump in the pool. It's the difference between the pleasure of acquisition and the, frankly, pain of application.
And that's why the sources talk about the athlete mindset.
Yeah, think about it. An athlete knows you only get better through consistent, mindful training. They don't just read about lifting. They go lift the weights every day, especially when they don't want to.
So applying that to life means...
It means turning every piece of wisdom into a small, repeatable action. Scheduling that 30 minutes of deep work, actually writing in the journal every night. It's the daily training that builds the muscle.
And that kind of training needs focus. Seneca said it best. To be everywhere is to be nowhere.
You can't do it all. To achieve anything significant, you have to be willing to say no to almost everything else.
Foroux points to 3 things that kill our focus today.
All right. Yeah. First, distracting thoughts, just poor mental health. Second, what he calls secondary activities, endless entertainment, social media. And third, maybe the biggest one, is not having a big, clear goal.
Because if you don't know where you're going...
Any road will get you there, and you won't like the destination. Excellence requires you to choose a few core priorities, your health, a couple of key relationships, your main work, and focus your energy there. You can't spread it thin.
Let's shift to a really powerful Stoic idea about wealth and self-worth, this idea of detachment.
This comes from Epictetus, and it's a tough one. He says, you cannot truly lose anything because you don't own anything in the first place.
Possessions, relationships, they're all just on loan.
Exactly. You haven't lost them. You've just returned them. Foroux uses the metaphor of staying in a nice hotel.
Right. You enjoy the fluffy towels, but you don't have a breakdown when you have to check out and leave them behind.
That's the idea. And look, it's a hard truth when you apply it to losing a loved one or your life savings. The Stoics weren't saying you shouldn't feel pain.
Just that the attachment is the source of the deepest suffering.
Right. Appreciate things deeply while they're here, but don't let them define your identity. Your self-worth has to be totally independent of your stuff or your bank account.
Because if it's tied to your bank account, you've given the market control over your mental state.
Which breaks that first rule from Musonius Rufus. You're back to focusing on what you can't control.
It all comes back to that. Let's wrap up with integrity. Sticking to your choices.
Epictetus was very blunt about this. Once you decide on a course of action, you have to see it through. No matter what unsolicited advice you get or what other people think, that's how you build character.
But today, with instant feedback and social media, the temptation for external validation is it's overwhelming.
It's the great compromise of our time, I think. If you're constantly looking for approval from your boss, your partner, or worse, strangers online, you lose your own integrity. Letter 50 says you have to be your own witness.
I love that phrase, be your own witness.
Because if you're trying to please everyone, you betray yourself. And eventually, nobody knows who you are because you don't know who you are. The key is to live by your own well-thought-out principles, whether anyone is watching or not.
This has been such a rich, deep dive. So many practical takeaways from these sources. Just to recap for you listening, we talked about the power of distinguishing what you can and can't control.
That Musonius Rufus idea of focusing absolutely on your own sphere.
We learned that simple but powerful tool of replacing "I hope" with "I wonder" to manage fear. And we explored that crucial commitment to the athlete mindset daily practice over just consuming more information.
Which leads us right to the final thought. Foroux brings this up from Seneca, this idea of conscious living versus accidental living. Seneca said it's shameful to suddenly wake up one day and ask, how did I get here?
You don't want your life to be an accident. You want it to be a series of conscious choices.
We know our time is short. We know, as Epictetus said, that progress is not achieved by luck or accident, but by working on yourself daily. So if you accept that, if you accept the need for intentional action,
And then the question becomes,
what single intentional daily training activity will you implement starting tomorrow to make sure your future story is one you actually wrote yourself and not one you just sort of endured?